We were simple folk, knew nothing of your ways. And you walked into town, and things began to change. At first we wanted you to leave, it was all too much to take. But then your magic reached us, oh yeah, make no mistake. Pop culture hero, coming to save us all. You never judged us, taught us to stand up tall. Pop culture hero, taught us to be as one. After the prequels, the healing had begun. Walking the thin line between heaven, earth, and hell. Pop culture hero, saving us from ourselves.
Hey guys, this is Maniac with Game Access. It's Halloween. How about a creature feature? What are the creature features? Well, they were a series of movies developed around the early 2000s, designed basically to be as kind of a nod back to the early horror films of celluloid back in black and white. They made multiple movies, many of them, including such as She Creature with Carla Gugino, I believe that's pronouncing it correctly, and the one that we're going to talk about. The movies were done with special effects by Stan Winston, who still to this day is probably even in death the best a special effects guy ever. You could usually catch these movies right now. They were actually shown directly on HBO right after they were finished, and they basically went straight to DVD right after that. For some odd reason, I can still watch She Creature on reruns and syndication, even today on Showtime and Cinemax. But for some odd reason, the movie we're going to talk about today, I haven't seen since its initial run on HBO since 2001, and I think the last time I ever saw it on TV was probably when it was in syndicated reruns on Sci-Fi for one night in the middle of the night, and it was censored. I can't tell you. And the movie we're going to be talking about is How to Make a Monster. How to Make a Monster is a movie that I saw back in 2001 when it was just airing on HBO. And this movie actually meant a lot to me because it was the first movie I ever saw that basically had a whole premise based upon game development. The characters were were very much true to actual game development archetypes. And I loved the movie for being so realistic about that. Sure, the characters got zany and a bit over the top at times, but then again, game developers themselves were zany and over-top individuals, so you had to be in order to be in this kind of business. So I thought the movie basically would have worked better as a comedy. The first half of the movie is basically just the game developers and how they interact with each other, how they interact with their boss, how they interact with the people that are funding them, and how they interact with the intern. And honestly, those are the best parts of the movie. If they had just made the whole movie like that, it would have been awesome. But instead what they did was decided to make a horror movie remake based upon 1934's How to Make a Monster. And instead of being special effects artists that work on it, basically it's game programmers. The movie was directed by George Klung, who, as far as I can tell, had very few credits. At least this was his first full director debut. I've heard since then he actually did go into the game development business. He apparently now works for SafeDisc. So he's now gone from, causing further pain to gamers in the form of DRM and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about How to Make a Monster. Whoa! That game sucks. I should should know. I played through Daikatana.
Nice.
Please put that down.
So late. Boring.
This game is supposed to be scary. That's why we called it Evolution. We'll show you the face of evil, where death is the only escape. Be afraid? Do these kids look afraid?
Stop it.
You guys are so canned.
What?
The reason why I like this movie so much is because everything in it actually has a logical step. When a project is basically canned, and because the budget is going overblown, it's completely delayed, and it's completely not up to snuff with what the publisher wants, the publisher fires the whole team. It's happened on so many occasions, and there's been so much controversy about it, especially recently about fired developers that haven't gotten credits on finished work that were completed by other teams. This is actually what does happen in the gaming industry, and people just didn't know it.
But who's gonna finish the game?
So let's meet our main characters, shall we?
Well, starting over isn't going to be easy, Miss Clayton. But let's remember what this is all about. 7.4 billion. That's right. $7.4 billion. That's what the video game industry netted in profits last year alone. These games are like crack to kids, only legal. You know that. But do you know how to hook them? How to separate them from their $7.4 billion? You scared?
The first guy on the list, that's Peter Drummond, played by Bobby Kennedy? Actually, that's Stephen Culp, a very rare non-Bobby Kennedy role. He basically is the producer whose basic job is to basically interface between the money and the team itself. Most game development teams, even no matter how small, will at least have one producer on staff, and on larger projects, probably even more than that, because somebody has to be the go-to guy between the producer's wishes, the publisher's wants, and the game development team itself. Somebody has to be the money manager. He obviously is also the least technical inclined of the group. His expertise is in business only. He's a businessman, and he's a good businessman too.
Yeah, Hardcore's my real name. I had it legally changed a year ago. I wanted Diablo, but it was already taken. I plan to reapply for it when the other Diablo passes on.
That's Sabretooth? Actually, that's Hardcore, played by Tyler Mane. He's the resident weapons designer and all four badass. His job is basically to design the weapons and also be one heck of a tough guy. He's extremely huge, extremely powerful, and will probably snap most people's in twigs. But you know what? He's a nerd, just like the rest of them. So he gets along just great with the team.
I started at Joystick Graphics when I was 12, but before that I was at Asari. You know, they were responsible for Star Rumblers. I developed a sound effects starter for that game when I was 8, along with Lunar Loons, but I had to get out of that company on account of, I don't really know why, but most people say that I'm annoying, but when it comes to crunch time, they're always calling me. It's like, Bug, can you do this? Bug, can you do that? But they never call Bug when it's time for, like, say, the company picnic. No, they never extend invitation for old Gordon, which is my real name, but you can call me Bug. Everyone calls me Bug, although I really don't know why. But I have a few theories. Like, back in 1985, I started my first Bug collection. I took a magnifying glass.
That's Bug, played by James Marsden. James Marsden, as you might remember, at least I remember him having a television career based upon, he played, I believe, the best friend of one of the characters in Step by Step. I specifically remember him from that show. But also recently, he's been doing actually a lot of voiceover work for video games. I specifically remember him doing voiceover work in Jedi Academy. He is the music designer of the group, but also probably the biggest nerdy nerd of the group as well. You'll notice that he has acne in some scenes, doesn't have acne in others. It's kind of he's mostly just noticeable in the first sequence. But he definitely has very little self-esteem. He definitely is absolutely out of his mind from all the intensity he portrays to his love of work. And he is probably also, by a lot of people, would consider probably the most annoying of the group. But you know what? I have a soft spot in my heart for him, so I love him.
The name is Saul. As in Solomon, as in the king that is wise, as in the solution to all your problems. Why should you hire me? Why? That's just dumb. That is a dumb question. Why do they call that a chair? Why is the sky blue? Why are you dressed like a 32-year-old when it's obvious that you're at least like 50?
And that guy is me. Actually, that's Saul, played by Karim Prince. I couldn't find too much records about him doing stuff, mostly just television work and stuff like that in various roles. Freaky Link's credit and stuff like that. He's their AI programmer and probably the smartest out of the entire group. He's probably the best engineer. He's also probably the best programmer. So most of the programming goes through to him, and he makes sure everybody knows it.
So, guys, what do you think?
It's a dump. I love dumps.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Who are you?
Laura. Laura Wheeler. It's a pleasure to meet you.
What game engine you responsible for?
No, I'm not. I'm just the intern. I make copies and feed the fish, clean up. Cookie?
And let's save the best for last. That is Laura, played by Clea Duvall. I loved her in Heroes, let me tell you. She was fantastic, and I really wish they had done more with her in Heroes. I really thought that she had a great relationship going on with Parton that they just kind of neglected. They just kind of left it. It had some great moments in it, though. But she basically is the intern of the group. She's not a nerd by any means, but she does know what she's doing. She likes the nerds. She prefers the nerds over regular people. And it's nice that this is actually, that girls like that actually do exist, because I honestly haven't met any of them. But she's a great individual. She has a great heart to her, and we're gonna probably see the most about her, because well, it's her name on the box art. So I wonder what's going to be happening to her over the course of this story.
You heard the man. Let's work.
Let's go! Game on.
I thought we were working on a game and not a piece of shit.
Merde. What congenital imbecile hired these quasi-coders?
This is weak. This is silly. There's no plug-in for virtue goggles, cyber gloves. This is weak.
This is grim.
But can you make it scary? That is why I hired you.
That's it.
Ladies, scary's what we do.
Good, you have 4 weeks.
What?
4 weeks?
At those times, games had to meet release dates. I mean, it's been up to that since like 2 years ago. It's been like that. They will not stop production based upon if the game is ready or not. There have been too many games released over the last 10 years that have just, if they'd only had 6 more months.
Time, okay?
Number 2, trust. No telling what the competition might do. Spies are everywhere, which is why we have security. There will be cameras recording everything you do. Each door is fully alarmed. So if you were even thinking a nasty thought, total lockdown. Nobody gets in or out.
Kind of looks like Bungie Studios in between the release of Halo 2 and right before they announced Halo 3.
I don't need this. Last I checked, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery.
Forget the sound. That's crazy.
Lady, we're programmers, not miracle workers.
Number 3, a test group will rate your work, and based on the feature they like the best, there will be a bonus of $1 million. That's right, $1 million. Whoever makes the monster scary gets $1 million. 4 weeks to make me a monster.
Oh, so that's why the movie's called How to Make a Monster. Yeah,